The single leg RDL can be done in a multitude of ways. There are hundreds of varieties of this. We're gonna go for the most straightforward, in my opinion, the most just baseline foundational effective version, and we can use a dumbbell or a kettlebell interchangeably. In this case, I'm gonna take a kettlebell. So first things first, I like to place my feet right next to one another. This gives me the best chance of having a good center of balance as I go through this. I pick a leg, and I like to actually elevate it preemptively. So now I am balancing on this leg before I even get started. Very important that I push my big toe in. This is going to create as broad a framework with that foot as I can and hinge over. So I want to be able to hang out back here and stabilize. If I rush back up, I haven't spent enough time to actually ask that hip of anything. Likewise, if I do go all the way back and I'm just dying to get back up and I place my foot in preemptively, I haven't, again, asked my hip to get all the way full and locked out once again. So I like to have my foot dangling or airborne to start. I hinge over and I come back up. And as I'm going for repeating reps, I'm actually gonna come all the way through, have that foot remaining to airball because this just places so much more on my hip. Now, do you have to do all of those little details? No, in fact, some of them might be unobtainable until you get better at this movement. But those are the little tweaks I like to employ to get the very most out of this. As far as general form and position goes, I want to think of keeping my knee out as much as possible. In is a lack of an active glute, path of least resistance, no good. The more I prop out my knee, the more I can center myself over my foot and give myself better balance. Little pro tip here, when people often complain of lack of balance, really what it is manifestation of a lack of strength. If I go here, what are the odds I'm actually going to be able to balance well and push load? My center of mass has traveled over the inside of my foot. I have less stability there. So if I can take my knee and have it over my shoelaces, fantastic. Even better would be slightly outside my shoelaces. That props up my arch, gets my glute involved. It allows me to go through that range of motion. Back leg. I want my back leg to be as straight as possible. If it's bent, am I getting less stimulus? No, but again, attention to detail. This is just demanding more of my leg as opposed to if I'm bent and kind of using this as a rudder to balance. When I'm going for a single leg RDL, my goal is to use as little weight as possible and have as maximum attention on that hip by way of lever and attention to detail and tempo. Whoa, even no weight can be very challenging. As opposed to if I use a heavy weight and kind of flew through this and gave myself the impression that I'm getting very strong, but missing the stimulus the whole time through.